Welcome to another episode of Moving with Life. I know a bit delayed, a few days, and then last week I think I only did one episode. This will go on as soon as I'm done here with my thoughts for today. But I'm hoping this actually works. So I have this mic tethered, hopefully now correctly, to the GoPro for now, and then we can move on. Just because whenever I have to edit and kind of line up the audio with the video, it just takes longer. So I'm hoping this works so that we can get that rolling, and then I can just continue. Nonetheless, I'm delayed because, if I'm being honest, it's been kind of a rough week, and then it's been busy at work as well. Just a lot of things going on. A lot of things I prefer not to talk about yet, or right now. The same thing. But I'm here trying to get back into my rhythm. And it's funny because rhythm, it's like I've tried my best to not fall off either way. But then, life happens, and it's like, man, and being that for now, just given the circumstances, I'm very self-sufficient in the way this podcast runs, and trying to add video, and it worked really well for January. And I had, doing the Zoom thing with Brian and Freddie, that worked really well. And then just my gear that I have now, it's okay. This theoretically, this works perfectly. But then still with that, life happens, and it's like, sometimes I don't feel like, maybe it's not that I don't need to talk, but that's where then I'll talk to, my, the people that are closest to me, family and my friends, and that should be okay, right? I think it should be okay. As far as because whenever I come to this podcast, or whenever I come up with thoughts and trying to get my thoughts collected for this podcast, it's moving with life, and even when I don't feel like it, and I'm trying to get myself out of that mindset, sometimes even that little break, and then here we are today. Today's Friday that I'm recording this, and it's like, oh, now I kind of feel okay, like I can press on with the podcast versus when I try to force things. And that's one thing I want. As human beings, we always look for the path of least resistance. That's just human nature, which is totally normal. But when it comes to life and choosing the hard path versus the easy path, and then trying to execute, well, sometimes time is needed to be able to get out of that, that little slump. We'll call it, and it's not really even that. It's just life events that happen. That's like, man, I'm not in the right maybe that's a better way. But I'm not in the right headspace to come to this podcast and give my 30 minutes, hour, whatever I end up doing for the day or for the episode. I'm not at where I want to be when I'm talking with you. And because of that, it's like, well, I'll take the delay. I'll bite the bullet for that. And then once some time has gone by, like it has now, I can then come and we can converse again. I guess one thing I for sure want to start on, 'cause I already had notes. Like I've already had notes for this next episode. It's not much. But it's not much. But it's not like I didn't have an idea or a thought, so that's why I'm behind. No, it's just things that happen in my personal life that I was like, yeah, things happen. It's like, I'm not ready to present right now. So I know last time I mentioned about Super Bowl's coming up, and we're talking about fights. I talked a lot about sports last time. And I didn't really mean to, but it's like, well, that's kind of what's going on, and that's okay too. That's what's going on. But in that, I had written down, there's a story I want to talk about the Pro Bowl. And if I can get to why I wanted to mention this story, as far as it's a story that I remember when I was in elementary, and it had to do with the Pro Bowl. But if I can remember why I want to say it, I'll probably bring it up later. But one thing I did want to start off with, for sure, that I know I wanted to mention for this week was the fact that, for the sake of this podcast being, again, self-sufficient, I run it, I do all the video, any type of editing, it's all done by me. I try to keep it really simple because of that. I don't have a producer or anybody with me right now. Frankly, because I couldn't afford to have, I can't afford to have one right now. It's not that I'm not, I wouldn't want one or thinking about it or any of the above, but I still think about, like, the Tim Ferriss thing of, like, minimum effective dose, the MED. And the question that I brought up because of him, that he helped, like, his thought processes have helped me think about it a lot. But just, what would this look like? What would this look like if it were simple or easy, simple? Then you tell him Jocko, simple but not easy. So that whole thought idea between Jocko and Tim Ferriss is like, okay, what can I do for myself that I can be consistent, which is more important right now for me than the quantity. So if I can give you decent quality, a good conversation, and some consistency, then I feel like this will work out anyways. But for the sake of consistency, considering, I took a long break, for the majority of 2019, then I try to start kind of piecing myself back together in 2020. And with COVID actually happening, this actually allowed me to start jumping into, like, I need to get back on the podcast. I need to start recording again. I need to start bringing these ideas and thoughts together and start recording again. So with that being said, obviously these big podcasts, so these people that have been around for a long, Joe Rogan, Jocko, Theo Vaughn, Brendan Schaub, who else has a podcast? Joey Diaz, all these. Well, I follow a lot of comedians, and then you have Tim Ferriss, Jocko. You have, like, the learner, Lewis Howes. Is it Impact? I think Impact Theory. I forgot what his name is right now, but all these other life learn. Seth Godin, Gary Vee, all these other podcasts. But these guys already have platforms, and they're just expanding their platforms to podcasting and video and YouTube and all that stuff. I don't have that. I built this from scratch, and I started off with my friends, with Eddie and Brian back home, and then my mind started shifting as I started going through these conversations, and I started learning, and then I started having more guests, more interaction, and with all that in 2017, 2018, it all built up, and then I took this this long little sabbatical from the podcast because of my new work and what I'm doing now. But nonetheless, I've mentioned it before, where it's like I've realized in different moments in conversation, with new people that I've met, from all over, is that I need to continue this podcast. And with bringing that up again, one little milestone that I'm happy about is that I've reached 10,000. It's at 10.1. Now I'm at 10,100, which, like I said, it doesn't seem like a lot, and really it isn't. But the fact that, again, this is just me trying my best to bring conversation and open up thought processes for listeners. I like, at least it's showing progression, and I will argue that if I would have continued hard, because the hardest thing is just even the minimum amount of funds that I need to rate this, to continue this podcast. It's still something that adds up yearly. That's like, I do what I have to do, and then, this helps me for now support the podcast, and then we go from there. I've had some ideas about merch and different things, but that's going to come later, because every time I try to get into it, it's like, I hit a not a mental block, I hit a roadblock, and it's like, and I'm okay with doing what I'm doing, because what's important to me right now is bringing you quality, bringing the listeners quality, bringing ideas that I feel like one thing is that if I have this idea, then someone else probably has this idea or this thought as well. But 10,158 plays since 2017. I started this podcast January 2nd. Oh no. Okay, so the first episode came out December 31st. Is that the day it came out? Let's see what day I released it. I can pull it up. So I had 207 plays on December 31st. So I'm going to assume that's a Thursday. I'm just going to assume that. But since then, like I said, there's a lot of progression. Because for the sake of, again, I'm starting this thing from the ground up. No one knows me. People know me, but I come from a very specific part of Texas. Like I'm building my foundation, right? 2017, I had a total of 2,000 listens. In 2018, I had a total of 38. Oh, sorry, 2,000 listens in 2017. Then it went to 3,800 in 2018. So I feel like in that progression, it would have kept going up. And then, here we are 4 years later. And I feel like that progression, that trend would have kept going up. But then obviously in 2019, I had pre-recorded a lot of episodes, so I still had 1,700. Which again, like, these are not big numbers, but for me, it just shows progression, and for what it's worth to me, trying to bring quality and trying to bring thoughtful thoughts, thoughtful ideas, thoughtful things, thoughtful insights. I like the progress, because even so 2019 I had 1,700 plays, 2020 1,900 plays, and now we're in the beginning of 2021 and I have 500, which we'll see where it goes. But my hope is if I now it's on me to stay consistent and try to get out of these things that happen in my life, but still be able to get into a mindset where I can bring quality and good thoughts, good ideas to the podcast. Then the trend will start going up again, and then we'll see where it goes. Because even I was talking to a friend the other day, and it's like, man, I really enjoy podcasting. Now that I'm doing this video interactive, you're seeing me actually move my hands and things, not just if you're watching the YouTube video. It's different. It's different than when you're just listening. And for me, I'm a big as far as podcasts go, I like listening. Sometimes I like watching. If there's multiple people, there's guests, I will. Then I do prefer to watch it on on my computer, my phone, or whatever. But if I'm in it for learning, if it's a Jocko podcast, I'll probably just listen to it only, because I can listen to it sped up. I can listen to it multiple times in the same amount of time, as if I were to listen to it in normal speed. And then I'm trying to learn. It's helping me open my thoughts, helping me open my mind to whatever leadership or whatever business theories are coming out of those podcasts. But yeah, that was one thing I definitely wanted to bring up for this week, is the fact that I've reached 10,000, and that's a cool thing. And hopefully with that, it'll encourage those who want to just attempt podcasts, and I said this, whether it's podcasting, drawing, writing, playing music, learning guitar, whatever it may be. I need a haircut. Whatever it may be, to just start. And it's funny thing. So just talking about just starting. So I started working out again. I started working out Tuesday, and it felt really good. And it's like, man, it was necessary, because I had woken up, and again I knew. So by Monday, Tuesday, because I worked Wednesday, Thursday, so I knew that at some point I needed to record. I needed to record this episode. But by Monday, Tuesday, when I had the time to do it, actually, I did have time to do it, but I wasn't in the right headspace. I wasn't in the right mind to come to you and talk with you today, or talk with you at that time. And I was like, well, I'll pick it up when I'm able to, when I feel ready. And so then Tuesday I get up, and I'm like, man, I need to go for a run. It's like, I don't feel like running today, but I do feel like working out. And I was like, okay, let's just do that. So I did it. I worked out for like 55 minutes, and it wasn't a lot, maybe, but it felt good. I got obviously I got blood running. It wasn't monotonous. I like monotony. I eat a lot of the same, all the foods, I eat the same. I mentioned this over and over again. But I realized I need to start working out. So I did that. Then I went to work, and then today, Friday, I worked out again. It's like, okay, today was really just a stretching time because, frankly, Tuesday I did a leg workout, and I was like, man, my legs are tight, my hips are tight. I have a long ways to go, and it's crazy because while I was working out today, I was like, man, I I was never this mentally weak, and that's just being honest. Because when I was back home and whatnot, I was swimming and it was cold, and I was running and it was cold. We were doing all these workouts and whatnot, and it was, and also I had a different goal set. I had different things that were going on that drove me to wanting to work out and do what I needed to do. But going into today's workout, it's like, man, it was just interesting getting to that point in my workout where it's like, man, I could stop now and forgive myself, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, keep going, no, keep going. And finally, at the 45-minute mark, I stopped, and then I just stretched for 15 minutes, and that was my hour. I did an hour of things, and it was but in that realm, I was listening to a podcast. But in listening to the podcast, my mind was running. It was just constantly just going. All these thoughts were coming up, and it was, I was fighting myself. And then in that fighting myself, I was like, man, I never used to be this mentally weak. I would always have to fight myself then, but it was always just to push myself more. It was always push. And today or these past couple of days, it wasn't that. It was like, man, I could stop right now. Oh man, 5 more minutes and I'll stop. Okay, 10 more minutes and I'll stop. And then finally, and I guess in the bigger picture, now that I'm done with this, like, I got myself to the next little stopping point, right? I made it over and over. I made it to the next point and the next point and the next point. But in that moment, I wasn't thinking like that. I was just like, man, I never used to contemplate myself about working out or the length or the what I'm doing. Excuse me, please. Yeah, I never contemplated myself about what I'm doing or how long I was going to do it. I always contemplate, okay, I need to get to this point to get to this point, and that was it. It was always to the next point. And 2021 is, frankly, it seems like, I was talking to my friend today, and it's like, 2021 is going to be a good year. But with that, it's going to be a rebuilding year, and it's like, okay, trying to get back to more importantly is trying to get back to the mental level that I was at, back in 2018, the beginning of 2019, and then let the facts of what happened in 2020 and whatever, all of it, just let it be. But then use 2021 as my push off. Swimming would push off the wall, so using 2021 as that push off to get across the lane and back again. So yeah, that's part of the main things that I guess I'm using this episode also to kind of vent. But in that venting, it's also my thoughts and ideas of, as far as like, what would I tell when I had this conversation today? What would I tell my clients whenever they go work out? It's like, hey, just push yourself a little harder, or hey, just show up. Hey, the fact that you're here, that's good. I'm glad you're here, and I always was, because it's like, okay, cool, you're trying to better yourself. So it's trying to tell myself those same things, because that's where I'm at too. It's like, man, if it were me training somebody, what would I tell them? And then nowadays it's like, okay, telling myself what I would tell my clients, and it's okay. So I'm trying to use it. That's where I'm at right now. Like I said, today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday. I'll go work out tomorrow, God willing, and then Sunday, same thing. Sunday, Super Bowl. I'm pretty excited. I don't know. I still don't know what I'm gonna do for the Super Bowl. I do plan on watching it. I may FaceTime my parents. I don't know. I literally don't know what's gonna happen yet, but I am looking forward to it. I feel like a lot of people are going for the Buccaneers, but the equal amount of people are going for the Chiefs. Tom Brady's gonna win, his 10th Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is gonna win the Super Bowl. Whatever. I don't have a favorite. I think Tom Brady's gonna win. He's proved himself. I think maybe I talked about it last week. I don't know if I did or not. But all that being said, it's like, I think Tom Brady will take it. He's gonna prove that he doesn't have to be at New England. He's that good of a player, and that's pretty cool. And I can respect that grind, because that he's 43 now, and he's on his 10th Super Bowl, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, that's good. No one can take that away from me. That whenever people accomplish something, and or I see young adults and they're doing these things that they think are little, but it's like, hey, no one can take that away from you. You're doing this, you're doing X, Y, and Z. No one can ever take that away from you because you worked for it, you earned it, you're doing it, you put in the work, and that's gonna be part of your life forever. And sometimes it's not till later that you look back, it's like, oh yeah, I got to do that. Oh yeah, we lived through COVID. Oh yeah, I had to be home for 4 months, and oh yeah, I had to learn a new skill so I can get a job. I had to work from home. I had to learn how to use a computer efficiently so I could work from home. I had to learn, again, yeah, I already said, but learning a new skill to get a new job because the old job didn't make it. It didn't survive COVID. Okay, cool. But yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. And we'll see where it goes. Like I said, there's just a lot of personal things that are going on that's as honest as I'm going to be as far as talking about it, because it is life, and working in the hospital now, I see things, and it's like, okay, I'm learning a lot, and I said that, and I'll probably keep saying it for this year too. I'll keep saying it because that's a lot of what I'm doing, and that learning process of asking the right questions, especially when someone's life can depend upon it. It's helping me open my mind to new possibilities for my future, and then where I want to go next. Whenever that time comes. For now, it's literally just like, oh yeah, whenever I get there, I'll get there. But for now, it's like developing all these skills and question asking and thought processes, so that I can be as not sufficient as as sufficient, not self. I was gonna say not self-sufficient, just as sufficient and as efficient as I can currently, right now, today, tomorrow, whenever I'm at work, to bring my best to the game. I think I mentioned when I got to go back home, I got to talk to my mentor, and at somewhere in the conversation I got to the point of all I try to do is bring my best to the table whenever I check in for the day, to my docs and my nurses. It's like all I can do is give my best to my team, which includes my other two teammates, and then my docs and my nurses that are with me for those 12 hours. And then when those 12 hours are up, we go home, reset, decompress, reset, or decompress, reset, rest up a little bit, and then rest up a little bit, and then go back and do it again. But yeah, I think that's all I have. I wish I remembered why I wanted to mention the elementary. See, for the last podcast, it was needed vacation, Super Bowl, talking about fighting, inauguration, elementary. Why did I want to say the story? I wish I would have written more details. All I wrote was an elementary Pro Bowl story. And then for the note for last week, it was the same thing, just elementary Pro Bowl. Because I knew I had to do with the newspaper, and doing that. Was that my first? Nah, I'll have to write more details. I don't want to screw it up. I really don't want to screw it up. Why did the dog get a ticket from the policeman? Oh, so I heard this joke recently. This was like last week. It was like last weekend. They said, why did the dog get a ticket while walking her puppies across the street? Because they were littering. And I was like, that's hilarious. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's the way the joke goes. I had to look it up. Because they were littering puppies. I watch a lot of pit bull and puppy videos. Not puppy. Well, no, actually, that's a lie. I don't watch a lot of puppy videos. I watch a lot of pit bull videos and husky videos because huskies are hilarious. and my friends, and my friends that I have here, a couple of them have a couple of husky mixes, German Shepherd mixes, and whatnot, and they're very vocal, and it's hilarious. And then whenever I watch these huskies and whatnot on Instagram, and they're talking with their owners and whatnot, and they're vocalizing what they want or don't want. Obviously not literally, but they're just very vocal. Period. As whatever dog, however vocal dogs can be. But yeah, those are good. I think I'll end there. I think that's a good for now. That's a good stopping point. So I had 10,000 listens. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. In the past 30 days since picking up again, 438 listens. For you all, for everybody listening, I do appreciate it, because as I'm learning and going through my life, I hope that sharing the stories I do the stories I do bring, the questions I bring up, I hope that they're worth your while, because I've gotten to multiple points where I've gotten to multiple points in my life where time is essential, and it's a cliche, and there's a bunch of cliches, but that's what it is, because when you're done, you're done. And it's not to end this podcast on a morose note or even a dark note. It's just, like, go and live, go and do things. I hope that one day the things that I've done can help others, you, the listener, go and do things. Because I genuinely want that. Everything I've gotten to up to this point in my life is because I've just jumped in. And some of it I needed to learn, like, before I jumped in, and some of it it was presented to me, and I try to, I take it head on. In the past 30 days, I've had, so keep skipping to this, but past 30 days have primary listeners from the U.S., from the U.K., from Belgium. That's pretty cool, and then some other countries. But the top three are U.S., U.K., and Belgium. That's pretty cool. Top cities: Columbus, Ohio; Seattle, Washington; Encinitas, California; Ashburn, Virginia. I wonder who listens from Virginia, because Ashburn's been on here since the beginning. So if you want to reach out, because genuinely, I'm curious, because I seen Ashburn pop up a lot, and I know there's Apple, Stitcher, it's on Spotify. All these episodes on Spotify as well. Amazon sent me an email recently, but I haven't. I just haven't looked into it. But I know Ashburn's been on. Ashburn's one that I remember. Let's see: West Chester, Pennsylvania; Brussels, Belgium; Richardson, Texas, and then so on and so forth. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I appreciate it. Like I said, we're gonna close out now. Reaching my time limit for today. But you're caught up. I feel better. Period. And then I feel better also presenting this and bringing this to you. Hopefully, I remember what that Pro Bowl story is, because it has to do with being in an elementary newspaper. Has to do with it probably has to do with team building and whatnot. But yeah, I have that. But 10,000 streams so far. Awesome. Still working on other things for this podcast, but it's going to be a slow build, because I do have work. I actually saw this other company that I follow on Instagram, and they were saying the same thing. I was like, oh, okay. I feel okay about having a slow build versus trying to force things to happen. This again. Talking about path of least resistance, path of the easiest path versus the path of least resistance versus the hard path. Figuring that out, and for some things I will push the limits, and some things I won't. I am reading. I'm rereading. I'm rereading 1984 by George Orwell. I got this book given to me. I read it in middle school or high school. Definitely was interesting to me then, and I'm rereading it now. It's like, man, it's not that I can't put it down. I'm rolling through it, but I'm rolling through it because I'm also reading The Talent War. Those are a former, I think he's Marine Recon / Navy SEAL officer, and then Army officer as well. So I'm reading these 2 books for the month of February. Trying to open my mind. I was thinking about doing like a chapter review like for 1984, but I'm not there yet. I'm reading it. I'm enjoying it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, this is relevant to today. But I'm kind of using it for myself. But I just want to pass on what I'm reading for right now. This is another thing I'm jumping, so working out, jumping into reading again, trying to stay on I keep a monthly schedule of things that come up, things that I want to accomplish, and then things I need to get done as well. So yeah, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Go out and do good things. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself, mentally and physically. And we will see you all very, very soon.